Once in a while, a death in the family can occur. Someone like a close grandparent can pass away due to bad health, or any other way someone can die. I recently lost my grandmother on March 22nd, 2025. It all started when my grandmother's doctor told me that they found cancer in her kidney. The kidney was removed, but over the next few days, all my grandmother wanted to do was sleep in her bed because she was ever hurrying to get out of bed and do things on her own. Then on March 22nd, my dad had informed me that she had passed away in her sleep due to kidney failure. Ever since then, things have not been the same ever since she moved on. When she was alive, I enjoyed her cooking and I also enjoyed spending Christmas with her. I'll confess, when I heard the news that she died, I didn't burst into tears when I heard about her passing. I just carried on with my life. But I still feel sorry for her loss myself. The reason I am bringing this up is because there is a lost episode of a very obscure show that I tend to enjoy whenever I think of it. But sadly, this episode was tear-jerking than all the others. The show I'm referring to is Hobbie and Friends. You might remember when I talked about the episode where Holly and her friends go to a mysterious house run by a rabbit anomaly. If not, that's fine. I will narrate that at some point. Back to the story. I'll be as kind as to give you a summary about this show. Hobbie and Friends focuses on a 10-year-old version of Hobbie. The show in particular is based on the doll lineup. Holly has two friends named Amy Morris and Carrie Baker, and they go around Clover and lessons about friendship and etc. etc. But once again, there is a lost episode of the show that deals with very, and I mean very, serious topic. On a day in the summer of 2025, I was at my church setting up for a youth group room I was a volunteer for. While setting up the Nintendo Wii for the kids, I noticed a very strange DVD next to a game simply known as Wii Play, which I never saw before. This DVD in particular was made of paper and looked like one of those custom DVD marathons I saw some YouTuber on the internet create. The DVD had a title on the front written in what looked like a black Sharpie. It was titled as Hobbie, The Big Loss. I was honestly left in confusion because I have never seen an episode of Hobbie known as The Big Loss. But what left me confused was that I didn't know if this was an episode of Hobbie and Friends or the Hobbie series on Hulu. When Jennifer, the one in charge of the youth group, came in with her two sons and mother, I proceeded to ask Jennifer about the DVD. She took a look at it and said that some guy offered her it when she was at a flea market, but considering she didn't have a proper DVD player, she said it was okay for me to keep the DVD. So after church ended for the day, I walked home and proceeded to insert the DVD to the PS5 in the living room. I sat down while still being confused on which kind of Hobbie series this was. And to my surprise, the theme song to Hobbie and Friends was playing, which made me rather excited. After the intro ended, a title card came up and it was the exact same on the DVD cover. The episode began at Holly's house. It faded to the bathroom where Holly was having a shower. After Holly did her routine, she went downstairs and proceeded to make herself what looked like a Pop-Tart. Robbie was in the living room with a bunch of toy dinosaurs. It looked like he was trying to decide which was the best dinosaurs collection. Holly then came in and danced kind of like how Snoopy does in the Peanuts. "Holly, you good, sis? What's making you dance like that?" Robbie asked. "I'm going to be doing a bunch of great things with Amy and Carrie this weekend. We're going to go have delicious pizza, play volleyball, and much more," Holly replied. Suddenly, both Holly and Robbie heard the sound of the phone ringing. Joan, Holly's mother, said that she would get the phone. As Holly and Robbie looked at each other with confused faces, I could hear Joan on the phone in the background, and here's pretty much what I heard. "Hello? Oh, hi, Mrs. Morris. How are you? Are Amy and Carrie still set for the playdate of Holly?" "Huh? What do you mean? A car crash? Really?" As soon as Holly heard the words car and crash, her face changed from confusion to a look of shock. Continuing with the phone call. "Oh dear. This is going to be hard to tell Holly, but I'll try my best. We'll see you guys at the hospital soon. Goodbye." Joan then walked in with a sad look on her face. "Mom, did Amy and Carrie really get involved in a car crash?" Holly asked. "Fortunately, honey, they did. They're currently on their way to the hospital," Joan replied. "Can we please go and see them at the hospital? I need to know if they're going to be okay. Please?" Holly said. "That's on my agenda. Come on, let's get there before things start escalating real bad." The next scene showed a hospital, presumably meaning Holly, Robbie, and their mother arrived safely. And that faded to show Holly and Robbie sitting in the waiting room. As I looked at this scene, I was slowly getting reminded of a creepypasta story about a lost episode of Arthur where Grandma Flora passed away. Except it looked like Amy and Carrie were supposed to die in this. Holly, it'll be okay. If Amy and Carrie die, then you always have— Shut up! Holly yelled in a mixture of sadness and anger. If you say it like that, they might. Amy and Carrie are the only friends I have. Just, please. I don't want to speak about this until said otherwise. Understand? Holly continued. Yes, Holly, I'm sorry, Robbie replied. 5 seconds later, Joan, Mrs. Baker, and who I believe were Amy's parents all walked out with sad expressions. How are Amy and Carrie? Are they going to be okay? Holly asked. Holly, please sit down. It's very important, Joan replied. Holly sat back down as mother told her to do. Joan then said, Now, Holly, we were in the room with Amy and Carrie, and their hearts stopped beating. I'm afraid we'll be seeing them again for a long time. I'm sorry. Holly started growing tears from her eyes, and she also put her hands over her head. Robbie began to sense that Holly was going to scream. Mom, everyone else, you're probably going to want to cover your ears, Robbie said. They all did as Robbie told them, as it then showed the exact same shot of the hospital building. Holly could be heard screaming at the top of her lungs, No! The next scene was at a church, which happened to be having a funeral. Amy and Carrie's parents were the hosts of the funeral. Everyone, including Holly and her family, were dressed in formal attire. Good evening, everyone. We're all gathered here today to say our goodbyes to Mrs. Baker's daughter Carrie and my daughter Amy, said Mrs. Morris. If anyone would like to say anything, feel free to come up, Mrs. Morris continued. Holly then went up and proceeded to start her speech, with Joan and Robbie accompanying her. Hello, everyone. My name is Hobbie. I was good friends with both Amy and Carrie. We did a lot of fun stuff together, such as preparing a surprise party for my Aunt Jessie, getting sap from a maple tree, and much more. I've known my friends since I first entered the first grade. We're really good friends, I tell you. I really am going to miss you. Joan and Robbie gave Holly a hug as Holly cried. Eventually, the parents of Amy and Carrie started crying. The scene ended with fade to black. The next scene was back at home. Robbie was playing a video game while Joan and Gary, Holly's parents, were in the kitchen paying bills. Holly was in her room lying down on her bed, obviously feeling sad. I could see she had a Walkman with her, as well as a pair of headphones. I could hear Holly listening to what sounded like Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, which was the same song heard in the South Park episode Raisins, where Stan is heartbroken by Wendy's breakup. The door knocked and Holly's Aunt Jessie came in. Hey, Holly. I'm awfully sorry for your loss, Jessie said. Sometimes I feel like I want to become an emo person because of what happened. I wish that Amy and Carrie could have been saved, but I couldn't do anything about it. Have you ever felt so sad you listen to music that's even more sadder? Like, what's the point of living anymore when someone you love is gone forever? Holly said. I feel you, sweetheart. I was like this when my friend died, not because of a car crash, but it was cancer. How about I make it up to you? Would you like to go out to eat? We can go wherever you'd like, Jessie replied. Okay. I've always wanted to try this burger place that opened up 2 weeks ago, Holly said. The next scene showed Holly and Jessie at the burger restaurant. Holly still felt sad. You know, Holly, when you go back to school on Monday, maybe you can find new friends that look just like the ones you used to have, Jessie told Holly. Holly's face changed from sad to angry, and then she said, Make new friends? What do you mean, make new friends? Amy and Carrie were the only friends I had. Do you have any idea how hard it is to make new friends? Even if I do make a new friend, they probably won't act like how I do. Holly's face went back to a sad-looking expression as tears began streaming down her face. Why do I even trust you? Holly said before she stormed out of the restaurant crying. Joan then started to feel sad as well. A waiter came by as Joan started growing tears like Holly did. Can I get some to-go boxes for all of this, please? The waiter said yes, and the next scene showed a very similar shot from another episode. This scene depicted Holly sitting on the porch stairs of what I believe her house in the episode Best Friends Forever. I don't know, I haven't watched the entirety of Best Friends Forever because of this show being somewhat obscure. I was expecting Holly to start singing a song at this point, but she just kept staring at her legs for 10 seconds. During the scene, some melancholy music began playing. It mainly consisted of what sounded like cellos, violins, and a piano. Why? Why did they have to die? They were friends that made my whole life better. What's the point of living anymore? Holly said in a sad voice. She then put her hands over her eyes and cried, and sorry to be cliche, but her crying sounded like if they had brought an actual 10-year-old girl into the recording studio and made her act out actual crying. This scene lasted for, believe it or not, 2 whole minutes. For some reason, the melancholy music started to sound like a depressing version of the song What is the Light by the Flaming Lips. Holly continued to cry, and then she proceeded to walk back inside. Joan was watching a news report on TV. It said that snow was supposed to be hit in Clover, the city, not a character, and the temperatures would be rather freezing. Holly then walked out of the living room, got a piece of paper and a pencil, went up to her room to write possibly a note indicating she was going to freeze herself to death. Night came the next scene, and the snow was starting to fall from the sky. Holly walked outside in her snow outfit and made her way to the same forest-like spot from the episode Secret Adventures. Before Holly took her coat off, and she stuffed the note from earlier into her pocket, and then she took the coat off. What Holly was doing easily reminded me of the ending scene to The Shining, where Jack becomes so cold, he eventually dies from freezing. As the snow continued to fall on Holly, she said, Amy, Carrie, I'm coming home. The screen faded back for 5 seconds. In the next scene, Robbie woke up, got out of bed, and decided to walk into Holly's bedroom. When he got in there, he saw that Holly was nowhere to be seen. Mom? Dad? Robbie shouted. What is it, Robbie? It's super early, Joan said. Holly's not in her room. I think she went out last night in the freezing weather, Robbie replied. Jeez, you're right, said Gary. Let me call Aunt Jessie. I think maybe Holly stayed over at her place following her depression. It then transitioned to Uncle Dave and Aunt Jessie's bedroom as the phone beside them rang while they were sleeping. Uncle Dave heard this and he picked up the phone. Here's how the conversation went. Dave. Hello? Joan. Dave, it's Joan. Can I speak to my sister, please? Dave. Sure. Moment, please. Babe. Psst. Honey, your sister's on the phone. Jessie. Hello? Joan. Jessie, it's me. I need to ask you something. Did Holly stay at your place last night? Our son Robbie says that she's not in our house, and we believe you were the last one of her. Jessie. No, the last time I was with her, we were at a restaurant. When I brought up a conversation about making new friends, she snapped at me and stormed out of the restaurant crying. So sadly, I haven't seen her after that. We'll look around our hometown today, and we'll see if Holly's anywhere near us. Joan. Okay, give us a call if you find anything. Until then, see you later. The conversation ended and transitioned to Robbie and the parents eating breakfast. Robbie was eating what looked like cereal with sliced bananas in them, and the parents were eating bacon and eggs. Just then the phone rang again. Jessie answered it, and here's another conversation. Joan. Hello? Jessie. Hi, sis. It's me again. I deeply regret to inform you about this, but this is about Holly. Joan. Well, tell me, is she okay? Jessie. This is going to break your heart, but we found Holly and she froze to death. She wrote this note we found in her coat pocket here, and it's saddening. If you want, we can have a funeral. I rewound the episode a little bit to pause and read the note. The note said this. To whoever reads this, I'm done with society. The death of Amy and Carrie has put me in a depressed state since their deaths. I am going up to heaven so I can join them for the rest of my life. I'm sorry that you read this, but I just want to see my friends again in heaven. I hope I'll see whoever reads this in heaven once they die, but until then, farewell. Joan had a shocked look on her face as she proceeded to hang up on Jessie. Mom, what did Aunt Jessie say about Holly? Robbie asked. Honey, I'm afraid your sister has gone to a better place, Joan replied. Robbie then started crying, and he asked himself why he ever said what he said to Holly at the hospital for Amy and Carrie's death. It then showed another funeral, this time for Holly. Pretty much everyone from the last funeral was there, and Holly's family were the host of the funeral. As Robbie was giving his speech at the funeral, he proceeded to tell the audience that there was a song he liked to sing when he was feeling down. The song was, of course, What Is the Light by the Flaming Lips. While the song kept playing in the background, this last scene showed Holly up in heaven with Amy and Carrie beside her. Well, Holly, now you're here with us? How does it feel to see us again? Carrie asked. I'm here in my happy place. That means I'm good. I hope I'll see my little brother and family up here one day, Holly replied. The screen faded to black and the credits rolled with that exact same song playing in the background. At this rate, I started shedding tears myself because the episode felt really depressing in my opinion, but nonetheless, it was truly a great / sad episode. After the credits ended, it faded to black. However, when I was about to get up to eject the disc, a Bible verse appeared on the screen. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 5:4. I then ejected the disc like I was going to do, and I put it back in its case. You probably expect me to smash a disc, right? Well, I didn't. The reason being, if I ever feel like I need to cry, I can always look back at that episode. Before I end the story, there's something I often say to myself whenever I hear someone passes away. When someone dies, you'll always remember them.